All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Fort Worth Community Arts Center's Boxed Lunch program.
Hey, woo!
So glad to be here on another exciting Monday. We are focusing on our original work series this week with another upcoming reading of a fantastic musical, which we will get into in just a little bit. Before we get into all of that, I'd like everyone to welcome another one of our amazing authors, the one and only Katreeva Phillips. How are you doing today, Katriva?
I'm doing fantastic. It's cold. It's a little chilly, but I'm doing all right. I got my favorite sweater on. Got my favorite pants on.
I did the same thing. I dressed up with my cardigan today, and very excited to try to stay warm and enjoy the company for lunch. So,
Yeah.
Katriva, before we get into too much detail here, do you mind taking a moment and introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
Sure. I'm Katriva, and I, for money, I'm a lighting designer, and I get to tour around. I've done a few tours around the states, and that's what I do for my career. And until I can, I'm also a filmmaker and a composer, and those are really where the my roots of my career are going to. I'm going to go forward in those fields. And
Awesome.
been in the Metroplex my whole life and been involved in the arts my whole life. Preacher's daughter that was singing since she was born and got involved in theater at a very young age, and I'm still hacking at it.
And staying very busy indeed. So we'll bring up some of that stuff as well and talk about not only this great musical that you've written, but some of the other stuff that you've been dealing with during the crazy 2020 year and even into 2021. So before we move into that, what is on your lunch menu today?
I got some to-go food last night for this event, and this is from Tuk Tuk or Tuk Tuk Thai over on near 7th Street. It's Penang curry. It's got chicken and peppers, and it's absolutely delicious. It's one of my favorite places to go.
Very nice. Well, we'll try to get some links down in the comments today and see if we can't drive some traffic over there to try some of that good Thai food.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh,
it
yeah.
is a little chilly. I'm going with one of my personal favorites today, creamy chicken and dumplings. But before everyone gets too excited, when I say one of my favorites, I'm referring more to the brand name of Campbell's Chunky Soup. So this
I
is
got
actually what is my favorite. And so I'll throw that in a bowl, warm that up while we visit. And I'm going to accent it with some delicious Ritz crackers as well. So
Ritz.
I'm going
Ritz.
all
Ooh,
out today. So
that's
I
fancy.
will open this can up and throw that in the pot if I can. I want you to know this is day 2. This is the second time this
Oh
happened to
no.
me. So I'm going to mangle this can while we visit. And I assure you that I will indeed get it in there, and can't wait to show the presentation not only of the lunch, but also of the mangled can, which I'm sure will top off the interview and make for quite a visual treat for everyone. So, Katriva, while I hack into this can, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about how has your playwriting been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I'm still trying to stay relevant, of course, but the biggest issue is that I've learned I've had to look for motivation in myself. You know, it's difficult to stay motivated when you've got nothing to do. You know, and your work can't be produced just yet, and you're not making any money. So yeah, like I said, deadlines and are great. Payment are the greatest motivators, of course. So when you have neither, you know, it's hard to stay creative and find it within yourself to finish what you start. But I've given myself a lot of patience and let myself be frustrated with the fact that, you know, I'm not a one track person. It's like I have to have like 30 projects going on. But during the pandemic, it's like, okay, you know what? you have time to finish all of these. There's no rush. Let yourself, go for it and finish every project and take your time with every single project versus project. Oh, I'm never going to get done because I have so many. It's like, okay, I have these 5 things I want to do. I can do them in a year, and I'll probably still be, this pandemic will still be going on in a year, not from now, but from when I decided there were these 5 projects or so that I wanted to do. I was like, all right, go for it in every single one until you run out of ideas. And then, start your other one. And so do I still have a lot of projects I'm working on at the same time? Yes, but I don't feel this rush to get them done and sacrifice quality for my own satisfaction, I guess, to finish quickly. Yeah.
Now, you've done quite a bit in the past year from the things that I've seen. You have 2 submissions in the original work series.
I almost did 3.
And you also filmed a movie, and sounds like you're working on a screenplay as well. So you mind bringing us up to speed a little bit about all of the things that you have found time for during the pandemic and the early 2021? And I'll let you pitch those a little bit. And sounds like you've stayed pretty busy.
I've been trying to. You're going to go stir crazy if you don't. Especially as a creator, as an artist. It's you gotta keep those creative juices flowing. So yeah, I did a short film challenge in April of last year, about a year ago from now, and that was a lot of fun. I was right when quarantine was getting to everyone's head, and it was like week 6 or something like that, deep into the quarantine, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? I've got to create something.
Can't. You not only created it, you also organized it.
Since I work as a lighting designer. Sorry.
And you organized that as well, right?
Sorry, you cut out. Yeah, I did. It was a lot of fun. I love hosting that kind of stuff. That's a lot of fun for me. And so I got with a few filmmaker friends, and I was like, hey, do you want to do a short film challenge? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And so ended up having submissions from all over the world. I had a submission from India, and I had a submission from New York, California, and we had our little rules. It was a sweet little festival that we all were able to do and enjoy in our homes. And so I had my own submission of that, and then I started getting the finite details of Dominique at the Marsh. My wonderful arranger, Tyler Simpson, worked so hard to help me clean up all of the arrangements, and it was a blast working with him. He's actually moving to, I think, Vietnam right now. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, he's picking up and going to teach English over there. I can't remember what he's teaching. I think it's English, but he's a brilliant musician, and really rushed to get everything done so I could submit to the original the series that y'all are doing. And then once I did that, I was happy with what I had. I shot my first feature length as a lead in October with Spectrograph Films, led by Tim Stevens and John. I can't pronounce his last name, so sorry, John. Starts with an M. He's really cool. And we drove out to Marfa and Terlingua and Alpine. We shot a full-length feature film in 10 days. We shot for 10 straight days. It was a blast. And then got back and shot the preview for Dominique for y'all's New Year's celebration. Yep. And that. Oh my God. It's so wonderful hearing your stuff. Even this is my 4th or 5th musical that I've worked on. Original. This is my 4th original musical that I've worked on. The first one that I did not have Nick Zebron on for, and this was all me. And so I was just like caught up in filming it, and I was like, okay, directing, blah 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 blah, make sure the shots are set up. And then I just got to sit down, and the wonderful Sky Williams started singing, and I was just like, this is my music. This is my music. Everyone's here because of me today. I know it sounds so just like egotistical in a way, but it's not boasting at all. It's just like, I can't believe I created this experience, and this was it was humbling. Honestly, it was like, wow. I've got a good support system. I've got some
Yeah,
great.
it was just a wonderful treat to get a little sneak preview of that, and we're so grateful that you were able to pull that off. We had some wonderful, wonderful entertainers for that New Year's Eve
Yeah.
special, and it was extremely rewarding to see all of the great talent in the area, and more importantly, to get a little sneak peek that wasn't just on a Zoom call. So hats off to you for directing all of that and
Thank you.
pulling all of that together. It was a nice way to say goodbye to 2020 and
Yeah.
some excitement for 2021. So,
Absolutely.
Katriva, do you mind talking a little bit about what have you learned about yourself as a storyteller in this last year? You say that Dominique of the Marsh was your first musical that you took on solo. What have you learned about yourself and storytelling during all of this?
That I need help. I'm gonna get more smoothie. There's a lot. I think this is also what I'm drinking. It's like, like how you get mango lassies at Indian restaurants. I think this pairs well with Thai food as well. Mango drink, mango smoothie. It's delicious. What have I learned about storytelling? Yeah, I really enjoy having a partner. I honestly, takes so much out of you to do everything yourself. And I'm used to writing children's theater as well. And so this was my first adult project that I wrote dialogue for. And it was like, even in the short films that I've done, it's been very quiet. There's not been much dialogue. I'm a visual person. I want to show you. And so having to write, challenging myself to write for an adult, more of an adult audience, but in adult situations, made me realize that I don't have very many adult conversations. I don't know how to notate them if I don't have them. But again, like saying from before, I've learned how to be patient with myself and let the story unfold versus trying to force it. Because when I was running Billy's Globe House, I love deadlines. And so I would schedule 6 in a season. I would write them all, and it would force me to sit down and write because the show was about to go into rehearsals. Sometimes it wasn't even finished when we were going into rehearsals, and invite the cast over and be like, what rhymes with tree? And so I'm used to that rush of theater, because I grew up as an actress. It's like you get into rehearsals, you perform, and then it's over. And then a week later, you're in auditions again. But writing, you don't have to have a deadline if you're not running a children's theater or you're writing all the shows for your theater. But now that I'm within the pandemic, I've just learned, like, hey, this is great. I can just write and take as long as I want, make it perfect as I want, or try to, and then I just send it off, and someone else deals with the rush and the. So I've learned that about myself. It's like, okay, I like sitting back a little bit, because like I said, I'm so used to go, 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 in lighting design, in theater, and in filmmaking, even on the production side of things. But to be the pre-production, it's like, I think I like this. I think I'm just going to be a fat writer. I'm just going to sit down, gain 20 pounds of eat wonderful food all the time, and just sit down and be a happy fat writer.
So, Katriva, are you the type of writer that sees the story as a whole, or does it creep out as you come up with ideas? I know that each script might be a little different, but for the most part, do you kind of see the overview, or do you just hear a voice that just kind of takes you down a path of a story?
All of the above. It depends on the story. It depends on the medium. With children's theater, it was when I was running Billy's Globe House. I tried to base them on fairy tales, but with parodies. Like, if you give a shrew a cookie, it was based on Taming of the Shrew. So that was fun because it was just parodies. But when in my original works, 2 of them were based on fairy tales. It was Snow White and the 7 Doubts, and The Boy Who Cried Giant. And those I wrote with Nick Zebrin. And so that was easy because it was just, the story was basically already done. I had to make little tweaks to make it punny, But the Dominique of the Marsh is based on The Little Mermaid. It's obviously easier to start off with something that's already been the idea is already there, and then you like to fine tune it the way that you want to. But the short films that I've done have been all original, not based on any sort of fairy tale or folklore or anything. And I'll have a scene pop into my head, something visual usually. I'm like, ooh, how could I develop that into a story? And so I'll write out a plot and change that over and over and over again until it finally unfolds into a whole story. And then I start writing the screenplay. And things change as you create new and more drafts. But when it comes to film, it's usually a scene or an idea, like a sentence will pop into my head. And I'm just like, okay, how do I make this 2 hours long? So again, it depends on the medium. It depends on the audience. Lots of different types of writing styles. I've really enjoyed letting this current screenplay that I'm working on unfold, because it started with this one idea of this sentence that I had in my head, and then it's really, really changed since the original thought last year. But I think I'm on the right track because I'm just writing away at this one.
Yeah, I would think if you're still going at it, then something's leading you in the right direction anyway. So now you mentioned Dominique the Marsh a couple of times. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind speaking a little bit about it without too many giveaways or spoilers or any of that. But if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about this particular submission, Dominique the Marsh.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta let my cat in. Cold. This honestly, it's weird how it kind of happened. I had a dream about 3 or 4 years ago that I was directing, or I had written a version of The Little Mermaid that was based in Louisiana in the 1940s. And a good friend of mine was starring in it. And I woke up and I typed that out of the status on Facebook. And I was like, I just dreamt that I was directing, I had written blah, 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 what I said. And the girl that was starring in it commented, and she was like, oh, you have to do this. I was like, okay, all right. And so the wheels started spinning. And I was like, because I love, Big River is one of my favorite musicals. I love Roger Miller, and I grew up on bluegrass and folk and gospel music. So I was like, okay, I can write what you know, right? That's the music that I know. And I was like, I can do this. So all the music is it's either gospel, it's either folk or bluegrass with a little bit of jazz influence, because I did base it in Louisiana. And it revolves around Dominique, who is the Little Mermaid character, but they all live in a swamp or a marsh, obviously. And we just did it's basically the Little Mermaid, but with a lot more. I would say it's closer to like Little Mermaid meets Romeo and Juliet or West Side Story. This cat is driving me nuts because it revolves a lot around what's the word I'm looking for? Racial issues, privilege, and what it means to be a mermaid, in this community that everyone, even though if they're like, oh yeah, I have a mermaid friend, everyone looks down on this beautiful kingdom underwater, yet they're still not equal to land dwellers. And I was gonna say something else, but I don't want to give it away. This is my first full-length musical that I've written by myself. Dialogue, everything. It's a lot.
What's harder for you, music or dialogue?
With children's theater, dialogue, I can knock out a play in a week. I think Snow White, I wrote the dialogue in a week. And the music that I wrote with Nick, I think it took us 2 months to write the music, but there's only 6 or 7 songs. So this is only an hour long. And so children's theater for me just comes naturally. But writing Dominique the Marsh, the music was easier because I have a degree in music. So I knew how to write the music. And I knew the feel that I wanted from it. Some songs I would knock out in a day. There was one song, I'm still not really finished with it, by the way. Sorry. I'm finished with it, but I went back a couple months ago and I heard an Elton John song. And I was like, oh, no, that's what I wanted to sound like. So I rewrote the whole song. And that's the fourth version of that particular song in the last 4 years. But the ending song I wrote in a day. And so the music comes a little bit easier to me because I know what I want it to feel like. So the dialogue was definitely way more difficult to write for this one. Like again, because I'm not an adult. I don't know how to write for adults.
Who's more receptive to write for, children or adults?
Oh gosh. Selfishly, I think because I was writing interactive children's theater, it's like you get that immediate response. You see that they're involved. It's just like, oh yeah, they're listening. You can tell. But with an audience of adults, it's like, what was that? Did you like it? oh, it's just a sneeze. Okay, cool. I thought you were a plot. Okay, cool. No. So yeah, I love writing for kids, just selfishly because of their reactions. Well, I mean, we all do it for the reactions, of course, right? But a child's reaction to, because it's so hard to get a kid to pay attention to certain things sometimes, and they're having to sit there in uncomfortable seats sometimes, or they want popcorn. But if you have their attention for 45 minutes and they're just like there and talking back to the actors, it's like, it's the most magical thing.
Yeah, they just haven't been as jaded and opinionated as a lot of the adults whenever you get to that stage of rehearsals and trying new things out. I have also found that children tend to be a little more open to the ideas. But yeah, probably a little harder to capture their attention. But once you get it, they tend to be pretty locked in. So I've always enjoyed working with kids. And I have to say, some of the greatest revelations that even I've had as an actor have been from watching some unbridled youths doing things that I never in a million years would have thought to choose as a choice for a character or even an emotion. So there's some real honesty.
A lot. Yeah, it's a master class. Because I used to teach theater at Berkeley ISD, and I was a middle school theater teacher there for 3 years. And it was like a master class of just watching these kids unfold in these characters. And I'm like, I never would have thought of that. I learned a lot from my kids. I loved my middle school kids. They were greatest. They were the greatest.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Katriva, now you've been involved in a lot of stuff during this pandemic, films and playwriting and virtual events. How do you see the arts continuing to adapt now that vaccinations are out, businesses are starting to reopen? I'm assuming you're of the belief that the virtual realm will stay with us. What are some other things that you see happening with the arts and how we're moving forward and staying engaged while we continue these struggles?
Well, I think we haven't been allowed the resources to truly adapt and to be successful, but because the budgets have changed, and it's been, a lot of them won't be able to bounce back, which is really unfortunate. But hopefully creation will come out of I don't want to say failure, but not being able to succeed, not being allowed to succeed. But selfishly, I'm hoping that this will bring about more local work, because theater companies will be saving on licensing fees, maybe.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping to see more original work and local work in these companies that are trying to bounce back. And I think honestly, that's been missing a lot in the larger equity houses and whatnot. I think there is a responsibility for those that can succeed to invest more into their community and reach out and be a representation for that. And so I hope that a lot of people will start bringing in local work, because for one, to save a little bit of money, but two, I think that needed to be boosted before the pandemic, in my opinion. So I'm all here for it.
I agree. I'm curious, do you think that we'll see a renaissance in art, not just in new works, but new directions that people take some of these things? I personally think that when we are able to all rejoin one another safely, that we're really going to see a boom in some of these live attendance events, music, concerts, theater. Do you anticipate the same thing?
Absolutely. I think we've all gained a new appreciation, honestly, for ourselves. We've spent a lot of time in our homes alone, with some people that have absolutely no physical contact with anything. They've had to quarantine this whole time. And I think learning to live with yourself is, especially as an artist, is so important. And honestly, I honestly do feel like a different person than was in March. I'm way more calm. I'm more collected and focused. And it's just baffled me what myself and other people have been able to accomplish this past year. And I think that definitely is going to contribute to the arts. You know, when you learn more about yourself, you become more creative. You become, more willing to try new things. And I think that we're definitely going to see a change in the arts because of us learning about ourselves as individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to touch on that a little bit, I'm curious, do you see yourself as a writer or just an artist in general? Do you see more pandemic plays coming? Or do you think that authors will completely step away from that and try to get as far away from those storylines as
Hope
possible?
to God there are no more pandemic plays. I was sorry, I cannot do it. Like, we get it. We're all here. You didn't go through this alone, okay? We've shared all our stories. We get it. Just take advantage, like I said before, and learn about yourself and come up with something creative. It's not like just artists went through the pandemic, or the opposite. It's like, oh wow, brilliant idea, writing a play about the pandemic. Okay, cool. That was one of the requirements for the short film contest. I was like, do not do that. We're not doing anything about. Actually, the only thing I said, okay, you can use toilet paper as your prop, but nothing about pandemic, nothing about COVID, nothing about isolation. Just don't do it.
I've been very intrigued when people talk about how they're going to write the next big long day's journey into isolation, and seems to me like every story I've read over the past year on any social media platform has either been COVID or politics, and I think I've about had my fill of how people are dealing and coping and trying to be artistic in this situation. So I'm also
not anymore. I don't care. Stop it.
You probably know a little bit about me more so than most, and I'm a big fan of dark stories, but I have certainly been yearning for some light romantic comedies, or even some fairy tales myself. I think would be a nice little change of pace. So
yeah, I agree. But don't read my story about the screenplay that I'm writing. Then it's not about pandemic, it's dark as hell.
Well, I still like the dark material. And on that same note, not necessarily speaking specifically about the screenplay or even Dominique of the Marsh, we have a tendency to think that these things were birthed yesterday. Submissions were way back towards the end of 2020. And I'm curious, did you find that the pandemic helped or hurt your writing process?
Oh, it definitely helped. Like I said before, just learning about yourself, because I learned that I love being home alone all day, honestly. Like, I'll go out and have, like, I have a couple friends that we know exactly what we're doing at all times, and we'll visit with each other, and we just go to each other's houses. We don't so it's we're being very safe about it. But no, I don't really care to see anyone throughout the day. I like, I'll see you later. It's nice. I'll wake up and I'll get on my computer and start writing, and I'll do that. I'll sit there for 8 hours, and I'm like, okay, I guess I can go outside now. But it's definitely improved my writing because I've just gotten more patient with myself. I've let myself embarrass myself and make mistakes and write whatever's on my mind, regardless of how stupid or awful it is. Just get it all out there, and then you can edit, and then you can take a step back and be like, okay, no, that's crap. That's good. That's good. But yeah, just letting myself be patient with myself is, something that I've been needing. I didn't know that I needed to learn. So yeah, definitely learned a lot about myself, and it's definitely improved my writing. in my humble opinion of myself.
Well, I just can't say it enough. You have been so busy and just so many things coming out of all of this. I just cannot praise you enough. It's been really great. I know a lot of people have struggled to even get a thought in their head, let alone put things down on page and get things completed. So it's very impressive. It seems as though you have used your time well, and I look forward to some other great things coming out from your work. So, Katriva, do you mind talking a little bit about what helpful community resources are you seeing or using personally, and how do you feel playwrights can be assisted or provide assistance to other artists or organizations?
Yeah, I think it's just as simple as making a phone call and being like, hey, let me read your stuff. What are you working on? Checking in with your fellow artists. There's not much else we can do at this time other than support each other. I've had a couple people reach out just like, because I don't want to be that kid walking by like, well, someone read my screenplay. I'm going to be a screenplay. But I just mentioned it, just in case anyone might be, bored and interested. And I've had a couple people just reach out and be like, hey, let me read it. I'm just reading my own stuff. I'm reading all my friends' stuff that over and over again. Let me read yours. Let me see what you got. And having that, like my friend Tyler Cochran, he helped me through with the dialogue with Dominique. We would just get together and he would just do like 10 pages. We'd get together and go through it. And that really, for one, made me feel important that someone wanted to help. Because I reached out, said, hey, please, will you do this? Like, absolutely. Yeah, let's go through it. And gave me some notes and some criticisms, and they've really, really helped me. And it made me feel important that someone wanted to reach out and read my work. And so, yes, like I said, simple phone call. Call your friends, see what they're working on, offer to read their stuff. That's helped me a lot during this time.
Nice.
Sure.
Do you think Dominique will stay a stage play, or do you have any plans or any itch to scratch and turn it into a screenplay as well?
Yeah, totally. I can't not, keep messing with my own work and seeing what I can continue to do. That's the other thing. Is usually I'm a one and done. It's like, okay, that was produced, time to move on, and I never look back. But with this one, multiple people have been like, you gotta film this, right? It's your first big musical. I was like, you know what? Once it's produced on stage, I'm gonna film it. What I want to do for its first production, I lied. Okay, so for whenever it's produced, fully produced, I'm going to film the whole process, behind the scenes, the whole musical, and make it into a little bit of a documentary. So yeah, to answer your question, it actually is already in the process of becoming a movie as well.
Well, we are so very excited to get an opportunity to share it with everyone, and just can't wait for people to check it out. I know that we got some great responses from the New Year's Eve stuff, and again, Katriva, it's just always a pleasure to visit with you, and just so excited to let people see what you've been working on. So
I'm so excited for the opportunity. Very, very happy about that. Yeah.
All right, Katriva, as we wrap this up, I'm going to start plating up my delicious chicken and dumplings, and then we'll give everybody a little viewpoint. While we're doing that, I was curious if you had any tips or tricks for people out there on how to continue to stay sane and healthy as we work our way through this extension of the pandemic.
Oh goodness. Learning new things. Keep your mind active. Like I said, it translated into my writing to just, hey, this is a stupid idea, but I'm going to write it down. Or this is a really good idea, but do it all. If any thought that you have, you should what's the word?
Jump.
Execute, jump, do it. If you've wanted to learn how to sculpt, take some online classes. That's what I'm going to do next. My next career is going to be sculpting. Just try new things. Keep your brain active. You'll go nuts. Write that screenplay that you've been trying dish out for forever. Learn how to grow in your garden. I'm gonna buy a school bus and I'm gonna renovate it. And then so I've been watching schooly videos just to like until a new idea pops into my mind on how to continue my screenplay. Just like indulge. There we go. Indulge in every thought. Yeah,
that's a great point. And I'll be real curious to see how many other artists turn out to be playwrights that were sculptors that are painters, painters that are acting.
Absolutely.
And I really think it might bring some vitality to the arts. And I always feel it's important for us to, as artists, stretch outside of our own boundaries and try new things, not necessarily to succeed at it, but to understand what the other end of the process is. And so I think it's important, and I'm hoping that people are able to challenge themselves, especially as we start coming back out, because there's still going to be a little bit of a learning curve in how to do things. And I don't think it's just going to be a floodgates are open and every actor gets to act. I think we're going to have to find some other ways to stay engaged with some things that we may not necessarily have in our arsenals. So it's a great opportunity to learn and a great opportunity to grow. So I'm just always impressed that you have so many irons in the fire and already doing all of those things.
It all started with that. It's just once I realized I don't have to just act. I can do anything I want. I'm in a great position right now. I can just, I can start writing. And then I started writing. And now I write way more than I act. And, I found that love by letting myself indulge in my own thoughts. Just let it go. Just do it. Just get out there.
I can't say it enough. If I would have only been an actor, I would have quit a long time ago.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah, it's certainly a challenge to stay employed in the arts. And I always say, the more you can do, the more you can do. And so, again, hats off to you. And let's get to it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go first here with my creamy chicken and dumplings there and my Ritz crackers on the side. I'm even using my good bowls today, not even the plastic ones. So
we all have those good bowls. That is true.
Yeah. All right,
this is my
out there.
Pinot curry.
Delicious. Looks absolutely scrumptious. Say the name of that place one more time.
Called Tuk Tuk Thai over near 7th Street. That's one of my favorite Thai restaurants. Also, Asian Nights over in Haltom City has some of the best pork belly you will ever have in your life.
Woo!
Thai food,
all right.
Yeah, I love
well, I'm going to go check it out for sure. All right, Katriva, this is probably the most important question I'm going to ask you today before we wrap things up here. How and where can people find you and stay up to date with all of the great stuff you've got going on?
I post everything on Facebook and Instagram. My short films are on Vimeo, so let me know. And I think my Vimeo is in my Vimeo link is in my Instagram profile. I post everything that I do on Facebook and Instagram. I have one of my musicals that I wrote with Nick online. And if you want to see it, send me a private link. It's not published yet, so we're trying to keep it as private as possible, just so for distribution reasons. But if you want to see it, I'll send you a link. Check out one of our musicals. But otherwise, check me out on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll get some links for that as well. And I also just want to remind everybody that we do have one of your submissions from last year on our YouTube channel as well. And it was quite a hoot to see that one. I don't want to give anything away. Go find it. You'll see it there on our YouTube channel. And it is a very refreshing take on another one of my favorites. So go check it out as well. All right, Katriva, this is where we tip our glasses and say goodbye to everybody. Any final words of wisdom for everybody out there watching?
Indulge, indulge, indulge.
Wear your mask, wash your hands. We're almost through it. Get a vaccine.
You're gonna get a vaccine, put your damn mask on. Wash your hands.
Absolutely. All right, Katriva. Well, I'm going to say this. We will see you again soon. or we've already seen you again soon, and welcome back. So we'll
That's
see
right.
how all that plays out. And in the meantime, we'll be back next Monday with another episode of Box Lunch. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day. Please be kind to yourself and everybody else. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye, everybody.